Florence, or otherwise known as Firenze in Italian language, is a city in central Italy and the capital city of the Tuscany region. It is the most populated city in Tuscany, with 383,084 inhabitants in 2013 and over 1,520,000 in its metropolitan area. Florence was a center of medieval European trade and finance and one of the wealthiest cities of that era. It is considered by many academics to have been the birthplace of the Renaissance and has been called the Athens of the Middle Ages. Its turbulent political history includes periods of rule by the powerful Medici family and numerous religious and republican revolutions. From 1865 to 1871, the city served as the capital of the Kingdom of Italy, established in 1861. The Florentine dialect forms the base of Standard Italian, and it became the language of culture throughout Italy due to the prestige of the masterpieces. The city attracts millions of tourists each year, and UNESCO declared the historic center of Florence a World Heritage Site in 1982. The city is noted for its culture, Renaissance art, and architecture and monuments. The city also contains numerous museums and art galleries, such as the Uffizi Gallery and the Palazzo Pitti, and still exerts an influence in the fields of art, culture, and politics. Due to Florence's artistic and architectural heritage, Forbes has ranked it as one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Florence plays an important role in Italian fashion and is ranked in the top 15 fashion capitals of the world by Global Language Monitor. Furthermore, it is a major national economic center as well as a tourist and industrial hub. In 2008, the city had the 17th highest average income in Italy. Florence originated as a Roman city and later, after a long period, as a flourishing trading and banking medieval commune. It was the birthplace of the Italian Renaissance. It was politically, economically, and culturally one of the most important cities in Europe and the world from the 14th to 16th centuries. The language spoken in the city during the 14th century came to be accepted as the model for what would become the Italian language. Starting from the late Middle Ages, Florentine money, in the form of the gold florin, financed the development of industry all over Europe, from Britain to Bruges, to Lyon and Hungary. Florentine bankers financed the English kings during the 100 Years' War. They similarly financed the papacy, including the construction of their provisional capital of Avignon, and after the return to Rome, the reconstruction and Renaissance embellishment of Rome. Florence was home to the Medici, one of European history's most important noble families. Lorenzo de' Medici was considered a political and cultural mastermind of Italy in the late 15th century. Two members of the family were popes in the early 16th century, Leo X and Clement VII. Catherine de' Medici married King Henry II of France, and after his death in 1559, reigned as regent in France. The Medici reigned as Grand Dukes of Tuscany, starting with Cosimo I de' Medici in 1569 and ending with the death of Gian Gastone de' Medici in 1737. In the 18th and 19th centuries, the extension of the Medici dynasty and the accession in 1737 of Francis Stephen, Duke of Lorraine and husband of Maria Theresa of Austria, led to Tuscany's temporary inclusion in the territories of the Austrian crown. It became a secondogeniture of the Habsburg-Lorraine dynasty, who were deposed for the House of Bourbon-Parma in 1801. From 1801 to 1807, Florence was the capital of the Napoleonic client state Kingdom of Etruria. The Bourbon-Parma were deposed in December 1807 when Tuscany was annexed by France. Florence was the prefecture of the French department of Arno from 1808 to the fall of Napoleon in 1814. The Habsburg-Lorraine dynasty was restored on the throne of Tuscany at the Congress of Vienna, but finally deposed in 1859. Tuscany became a region of the Kingdom of Italy in 1861. In the 20th century, during World War II, the city experienced a year-long German occupation, being part of the Italian Social Republic. The Leaning Tower of Pisa, or Italian Torre Pendente di Pisa, medieval structure in Pisa, Italy, that is famous for the settling of its foundations, which caused it to lean 5.5 degrees, or about 15 feet or 4.5 meters from the perpendicular in the late 20th century. Extensive work was subsequently done to straighten the tower, and its lean was ultimately reduced to less than 4 degrees. The bell tower began in 1173 as the third and final structure of the city's cathedral complex, was designed to stand 185 feet or 56 meters high and was constructed of white marble. 3 of its 8 stories had been completed when the uneven settling of the building's foundations and the soft ground became noticeable. At that time, war broke out between the Italian city-states and construction was halted for almost a century. This pause allowed the tower's foundation to settle and likely prevented its early collapse. By the early 20th century, however, the heavier bells were silenced, as it was believed that their movement could potentially worsen the tower's lean. The tower continued to straighten without further excavation until in May 2008, sensors showed that the motion had finally stopped at a total improvement of 19 inches or 48 centimeters. Engineers expected the tower to remain stable for at least 200 years.